for being here. I'd like to talk about Cleopatra because I've heard that the song was written about a taxi driver that you, before you wrote it, had not met.
Right, yeah. And first of all, thanks for being here also. I hope by the end of this, it sounds like we shook off the cobwebs that were earlier on. Like
there are no cobwebs.
Yeah. But I want to thank you guys for being here and making us feel at home here. So, yes. So, a long story short is that there's this taxi driver woman, and can't make it short. She's in the Republic of Georgia, next to Russia. My wife's best friend lives there. So this lady, I heard this story about her, and what got me really hooked in to her as a person and kind of as a character is this idea that she fell in love with this boy, and they were about 16. And in Georgia, when you're young and in love, you got to get married because it's a very Russian Orthodox, almost like the national religion. So he asked her to marry him, but in the midst of all this, her father dies. And so she's very numb from the loss of her father, and he came up and proposed to her. She's like very somber, and she doesn't give him an answer. And he leaves her house kind of brokenhearted and feeling rejected, and he tracked out this mud. It had been raining that day, and there were these footprints that were left in her house. And she never saw him again. They're from a very small town. He was just like broken, you know. And she loved this guy. And she refused to wipe off these footprints in her house. And I thought that was like the most beautiful and heartbreaking thing all at the same time. So that became the start of the song. And then from there, learning more and more about her. She was just a really fascinating woman, and she ended up inspiring me because the line is, you know, I was late for this, late for that. She's willing to say that my life didn't go exactly how I hoped it would, but she has this kind of FU attitude about it too. Like I'm still me, and you know, when I die, I'll be on time. Like you know, whatever, I'm gonna be all right. So, and it's refreshing because I think it's often a reminder to me. We live in a culture where it's really important that you put up a billboard every day online that says how great your life is. If you don't do that, somehow you're not keeping up. And for me, it was so refreshing to meet somebody who just said, no, this didn't go how I hoped, but I'm still alive and I love my son and other things. So she was just a fascinating woman. She is a fascinating woman.
And you did end up meeting her.
Yeah, Manana is her name.
Manana?
Yeah.
Love that.
Like mañana, but just different.
Mm-hmm. Did she get to hear the song?
Yeah, we gave her an album, and yeah, she's just a very like tough lady. She's probably the only taxi driver in the whole country. So it's as a woman, I mean.
Yeah.
And so you have to be really, really tough. So I don't know if she's like gonna cry when she hears it or punch a wall, but she's a tough lady.
I heard that there were some tears when it was being recorded.
Yeah. How'd you hear that? What are you, James Lipton over there?
I have my spies.
Wait, what?
I have my spies.
You have a sack of blue cards or something? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about this album, I think that story about, you know, coming to tears with doing something like recording, it's a very unnatural place to try to be yourself in some ways because you're in this like fish tank and someone goes like, okay, go ahead, record. And so, and then you hear like click, 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 click. So there's all these things that take you out of your element. But on the first record, we had played those songs so much that and we were kind of rushed in and out of that studio because we didn't have a budget really. So it was very mechanical. It was like, all right, go, you're done, good. Oh, hey, good. Stubborn Love, good. Dead Sea, good. And it was like quick. This one was more, we got a day to spend on each song, at least a few days sometimes. And it was more of like, you can hear it in the performances, I think. So at the end of that song, yes, I did shed a tear. Didn't think we were going to go there in this interview.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I think that's incredible that your music is so important to you because I know how important it is to all of us. I mean, we get to talk about it every day when I play you guys on the radio. but to hear that your own music affects you and you attach so much to these stories and these characters, I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, there's a funny story actually. These guys who follow us around named Gary and Brian, and they've been following us since, I don't know, a long time. Do you know how many years it's been?
A while. I mean,
they joined us on the day the first album dropped, so April of 2012.
Yeah, so 5 years now. And they try to catch all these great moments, and we always tease them that they're always missing like the best.
Yeah.
And so they make us wear these like lavs, these like microphones when they're around.
Oh, really?
And there was a moment where me and the producer were outside on this gravel road, like trying to come up with the last verse, and he started crying, I started crying. We're saying these lyrics, and we had taken the lavs off, and we weren't allowing them to film us. So once again, they missed like the best part for the future documentary down the road. It's all just memories now.
Well, there'll be plenty more opportunities,
Yeah.
I'm sure. We're not going to have to wait another 4 years for the next album, right?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I hope not. Yeah, it's really been amazing to be able to tour now and write a little bit on the road. So I think something will come out sooner, and I hope we're a lot more prolific and not so spaced out. But the first album was such a gift in terms of we got to eventually led us to open for U2 and all this other stuff. So I think you take that with everything else. We just probably toured for like 4 or 5 years on the same music, so it was a little crazy. Now I think we're a little more sane these days. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, again, congratulations on this incredible tour and these opportunities. Something that I noticed last year at Picnic is this band's ability to take 20,000 people and make this huge show something that's so intimate, and you really touch everyone in the audience. And not a lot of bands have that ability. And I know everyone in this room's been touched. Hopefully not inappropriately. But thank you so much for taking the time to stop by the Sound Lounge, and good luck tonight.